What's good, everybody? It's your boy Dakota. I've just done so many takes of this video. You have no idea, but I'm just here to tell you thank you so much for supporting the show. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe to the channel, leave this video a little like, leave it a little comment. If you're an audio person, leave me a little 5 stars, maybe leave me a little review. Whatever you can manage, it all means a lot and it all helps. And go ahead and check out all the links I got in the description to support both myself and whoever the guest is this week. I always try to make sure that I leave links in the description so that you can follow the fighters once the show is debuted. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to episode 107 of the Slip and Weave podcast. I'm here again with my guy, Mike Guy, 168-pound contender. Mike Guy, how you doing, brother? It's been a long time.
Oh man, I'm blessed, man. Just back at it again and doing what I love to do, you know.
As far as I can remember, the last time I saw you was when I saw you in person just after the Jesse Hart fight. We haven't seen you in the ring in the last 2 years and change. Let's start with why the inactivity.
Well, I hurt, I had a little shoulder injury, for a while. I had to let that heal up and rehabilitate that, and then, I got to a point to where I was just saying, I'm not just going to accept, any fight that they're, offer me. Oh, we got a fight next week, or we got a fight in like 10 days, or oh, we got a fight over here, but you gotta leave on this date, and you know what I mean. And none of it made sense, time wise, opponent wise, or even money wise. So I was just working, you know what I mean, and just teaching at my own gym and just doing that every day. Then there were some fights I kind of, I thought about taking, and then you know, um, it might have been too close, short notice, and I gotta plan stuff with a work schedule, kids, things like that. What I'm gonna do here, what I gotta set up, what days I'm be going, how much time do I got to train, and I know they just want to, hurry up and get an opponent for somebody, and most of those cases they ain't got no plans on giving me the fight anyway. We're just trying to find somebody we can rob real quick, you know what I mean, and get their accolades.
Right. And I think after a career that's been as long as yours has, the idea that you would be like a quick sub-in guy, I completely understand why you wouldn't want to take those fights. So it's for you, what you're saying basically is it's been a mixture of this injury, that recovery time, and then just not necessarily getting the offers that, that would get you excited about a fight. So now what you got on your plate is you got Vladimir Shishkin on the zone. Let's talk about this fight for a minute. He's a tricky opponent. He's tall, he's technical. There's not a lot of guys lining up to fight him. What was your impression when you were offered this fight, and what do you think of him as an opponent?
Um, well, actually, go back real quick. I almost did have a fight. I was supposed to fight in Boston, young kid, undefeated or whatever. Then he changed his mind. I think he looked at my age. Oh, I'll fight a dude that's 42, getting ready to be 43, and then later on, after weeks went by and the money was invested in that, and posters out or whatever, and training and trying to get ready for that. He changed his mind, or he got another opponent that had like 55 losses or something. And then because you look on box record, you can see who's going to be the next opponent. So my name was gone. Then he had some guy with 55 losses. That guy ended up losing on, I think it was January 20th, so he probably got suspended for a certain amount of time. Then he had another person in place with a whole bunch of losses, and I kind of made, okay, I see what he's trying to do. He was trying to find an easy fight. He went back and probably looked at who I fought, you know what I mean, and probably looked at my worst guy that I fought is better than his best guy, because it didn't make no sense for him to fight me. You know what I mean? With him, with the kind of guys that he has been fighting, I was like, cool, that'd be a cool tune-up or something, or whatever. But so that's what kind of led up to me already starting, to get in shape and getting ready. And then this offer came up, a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, we can do that. Yeah.
Because this is one of those guys, right? He's a top 10 guy at super middleweight at this point, but it's in a sense it's sort of high risk, low reward. What do you think of him as a fighter and as an opponent?
Yeah, I see how he moves. You know, from an education, it's not a whole lot of things that I have to do to really break down. It isn't like, oh, he has this thing that's tricky about this or whatever, or he got this lightning speed or something like that, or there's nothing really stands out. Not saying that he's not good, but it's not he's not showing problems that I can't solve.
What at this point in your career, what are your goals, objectives, and like motivations? You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, you're in your early 40s. You've kind of fought a who's who, the best of your era. What's motivating you at this point?
Um, Man, I'm 43, but honestly, I feel like I'm 28 years old. I feel young. I run, you know, teenagers and 20-year-olds through the gym. You know what I mean? And that part is one reason. Just how I feel. You know what I mean? I don't feel my age at all. My capabilities are not at somebody that probably would be at my age. I'm twice as fast as I was 2 years ago. I've added more things to my style. You know what I mean? Just doing different things. Mountain biking, yoga, adding things. Been staying low on my weight. I'm already on weight now. I've been staying under what 175 for the past 5 6 months. So this morning, before my first training session, I was already 170. So that's probably the only thing that'll be different for him. I mean, I'm a lot smaller than him. He will, it'll be a size difference. Because even after this fight, I think I might even go to 60. Which I never could, make that before. But the things that I've changed up, and uh it's a different, training thing. Is responding to my body responding to that a little bit different. So I can stay low. If I had to weigh in tomorrow, you know what I mean, I can make 68, tomorrow, you know.
Sometimes let's at any point in a fighter's career, right? When you have a stretch of time off like this, sometimes it's beneficial, sometimes it's tough because somebody doesn't have their timing. They don't have there's certain things just not being in the ring. But sometimes when you get that rest, you know what I mean? When you're able to get that break, when you're able to heal some injuries, right? It can be beneficial. So how have you spent this time off and how do you feel like it's affected you and your skill set?
I 100% agree. I think the time off for me, for some people, it may throw them off. I feel like it's helped me recovery, and you know what I mean, less stress, but um the time off, yeah, that was like, I think it was, you know, I won't say meant to be, but I think it was probably the best thing that could have happened to me, to give me time to, you know what I mean, just do things to make myself a better person outside of boxing, just as a man, father, you know what I mean, working on other things, my relationship with God and how I am with people, and you know what I mean, focusing on positive things, exercising my faith, so it gave me 2 years to really, not just work on myself, physically, but mentally and spiritually. So, and that's opened up, I don't know, I think something else with my body that just makes me be able to respond and move different. You're going to see a whole different me. So like, any footage that you have, that's not me anymore. You know what I mean? How I move, you know what I mean? The from the technical things that I do now, speed things, you know what I mean? You can see different power, I might even send you a couple of training clips, you know, in your DMs or something, and you can look at them and be like, oh, and you can go back and look at something, or from the things you remember, you can go back and see like, oh shit, that's a completely different dude. He moved different. Like he's different.
Well, I mean, shit, bro. It's do you know if you guys are the main event?
I think we're the co-main event. The co-main event. I forget the other two guys that are the main event. I never seen them or heard of them before. I got to go back and look at. I ain't even really been on social media. I might put some stories up and get off. But and there's been like a lot of stuff going on there.
Should you win this fight, Mike, what would you like to do with the rest of your career, and how much longer do you feel like you can keep going? I mean, even the last time I saw you fight, you look great. You know what I mean? I haven't personally seen any sort of decline, but how long do you feel like you can keep doing this?
In my head, I feel like another three. I want to do like three or four more fights. You know what I mean? And depend on what has it changed in my career. After this win, you know what I mean? It'll put me, right back up with the top tens. You know what I mean? It'll put me right back in the mix. And and then I may say three more fights, but she can keep going good for three more fights. You know what I mean? And my body still feels the same way, and I don't feel anything changing. It could be longer. You know what I mean? I would base it off how I feel and what the business side is changing. On the boxing part.
Well, yeah, if you beat this guy, man, you're right back in the mix. And that's one thing I've always really liked and respected about you and your career is you take anybody anytime. And that's part of why I think this is going to be such a great fight because you have this wealth of experience. Not even that many pro fights, right? But an abundance of top level experience that I think really makes you a threat to him.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't really. I say a couple clips. I haven't really watched his fights. I don't know. Um, the caliber of guys that he's fighting. The two clips that I seen, I never heard of those guys, and I wouldn't put them in the category of guys that I've been fighting.
He's got one good win
The Demond.
against Jose Uzcategui. That was a decent little win he had. But outside of that,
Okay, I think I might have seen that one. Yeah.
he's a good fighter, bro. It's a hell of a fight. Last question I want to ask you about this fight. Can you speak on just I think a lot of times when people see fighters on TV, they make the assumption that like, oh, that's a full-time fighter because he's on TV, but you're somebody that has gyms, that has other things that you have to address as well as your fight career. Can you just speak on what some of those things are so that people, get perspective on like the life of a working fighter?
Oh yes, it's every day. I get up, you know what I mean, and I'm even when it's not a fight, I'm doing some form of training, bag work, running, sauna, chiropractic stuff, massages. It just when it gets closer to fight time, all that gets amplified. And then the work side that I do every day, training my other fighters, my professional fighters, my regular everyday people that just come for the boxing training, my private lessons, mid work. So I'm in the gym all day long, and then, when that transition just starts happening, more me and then, less work. Like right now, I ain't really doing much. I'm going to train a couple of people today. I've already had some sparring, you know what I mean? Or, bag work, a lot of stuff. May, go run and, do the sauna and spa. And so my a lot of my training right now is not just physical training, it's mental training. I'm putting my mental state in the in a clear and focused um setting. You know, how I move around. I'm not worried about traffic. You know what I mean? I'm not rushing. I stop here, see the guy selling fruit. I give me a little fruit basket, go get some, some ethanol for the car, just cruise. And like I'm not rushing anywhere. You know what I mean? I'm not engaging into, you know, not that it's around me. If I hear somebody bring up negative conversation, I'm not listening to that. You know what I mean? If I saw somebody fighting on the side of the street, I'm gonna just keep driving. I'm just while I'm navigating, my brain through a clearer state. Listening to the pastor. I listen to some messages. And just getting my mind clear, and there's no clutter, no worried about nothing else. But so on fight night, I'm all you know in the moment there. I'm scanning thing, I'm watching, I'm using my defense, my offense, changing my angles, you know what I mean? See what he's trying to work on. I'm there. I'm trying to break the things that he's done. He's doing this, okay. I got something for that. You know what I mean? Let me set up over here, let me move, let me add a little bit more power to that. Let me sit there and work and really, utilize my skills and new things that I've been working on. And that it all starts with your brain. You know what I mean? It ain't you need sparring and all that stuff. I'm getting that too, but it's more mental training for me now. My conditioning feels good. I'm already on weight. If they said for some reason, hey, we got to move the fight to tomorrow, you know what I mean? Okay, I can do it tomorrow, so everything is just lining up, how it's supposed to be.
So it sounds like what you're saying is like for you, when you're getting into fight mode, you have to get your mind to a certain level of calmness, and then you go into like a tunnel vision where what might affect a regular person, you're just kind of not, you're not letting it impact you. You're just sort of going through how you need to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I ain't worried about none of that stuff. You know what I mean? I done seen two car accidents today. Not actually happen, but like they just happened. Police come in, like, and and like I ain't worried about none. Who are that people? Just things like a whole lot of things that I ain't even paying attention to. Even on social media, I ain't really. I might scan through that. I ain't staying on that, looking at that. Long. If it ain't positive or it ain't some boxing, I watch movies, my war movies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Snipers and stuff, and old comedy shows, Jamie Foxx show, the Golden Girls, Three's Company. I watch all the cool stuff. You know what I mean? Where you ain't worried about nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, shit, it's a hell of a fight, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. And like I said, that it's fighters like you that get me excited about boxing. Guys that are willing to fight anybody, anytime, and always show up and give a hell of a fight. So I'm looking forward to it, and best of luck. You got 10 minutes to talk other boxing stuff.
Yeah, I got a few more minutes. Yeah, she's not here yet.
Well, I'll keep it to just stuff that's in your weight class. Give me your initial thoughts and reaction when Canelo versus Munguia was announced. I know that everyone was sort of expecting that it would be Canelo and Benavidez. That's not what we're getting. I do think we're getting a decent fight, but what's your take on that matchup?
So I haven't even been following it. I heard just a little bit about that, but um I didn't think that was gonna be like and I barely even know of the guy, but no, I don't feel like nobody was even talking about him at first. I think, I would rather see him and David Benavidez go at it. You know, and I don't know what's the thing about. Did he say something about he not fighting a Mexican or somebody from Mexico? And like,
Which is
you
ironic
know,
because Munguia is a Mexican from Mexico. So I think that kind of
that
all goes out the window.
yeah. So that's what. But didn't he already fight somebody from Mexico before, or was it uh Puerto Rican?
That I don't
I
remember,
thought.
but I think what people are frustrated about with Canelo is him sort of conveniently, like when it's Benavidez's turn, now he doesn't want to fight a Mexican. When it's Benavidez's turn, oh, now it's like, I can make that money fighting anybody. You know, what's he bring to the table? Da 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 da. But it's still, it's like it seems like it's only when it's Benavidez does he have these reasons.
Oh, oh, okay. So you can look at it from a couple different points of view. You know what I mean? He may be doing that. Maybe he want to prolong his career. This person he think may not take that much out of him, or you know, it could be what some people think he just gonna really just try to avoid that fight that people, a lot of people want to see, and and when you say like, okay, I won't fight nobody from Mexico or a Mexican, I just think if that's like your only reason, I think you have to always stick to that. You can't, even if a person may not look Mexican, shit. If he look like me and I'm from Mexico, you said you ain't fight nobody from Mexico. Yeah, I mean, you can't fight me, just because I look like a regular black dude. I might not speak no English. So yeah, it can't just be a person that, you know, uh, that look Mexican either. So you gotta stick to that point. But I don't, you know, I don't understand his strategy on that, other than I think he's just trying to be able to go longer.
There's
And I
definitely
think
part of that, right? He's getting to be in his mid 30s and he's had whatever 67 fights or however many fights he's had.
and see people are always looking at, oh, this person don't want to fight this person because he's scared. I don't I don't think he's scared of David Benavidez at all. I think he's doing it for a different reason. I don't necessarily he gonna do it just because maybe the money may be better than fighting somebody else. I think he's doing it based off what he feels physically. I think this would be a better fight for me physically, and maybe what I want to do after that. I don't think he's scared of David Benavidez. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
I think
I
being
don't.
scared and being like a shrewd businessman are two different things. Like there's no part of me that thinks Canelo Alvarez is scared of David Benavidez. Is Canelo Alvarez willing to fight David Benavidez for the same amount of money that he could fight somebody else? No. And
Hell no, it's
it's
not
because
worth it.
he
It's not worth it.
knows it's a tough fight.
Well, yeah, then that makes sense too. You know what I mean? If like, if I can make this amount and take less damage and not wear and tear, and a person that it won't even be that much of a fight resistance, you know what I mean? Then it makes sense to do that. You know what I mean? A lot of the times, but you gotta remember people that don't box and fans, the way that they're gonna be hard on a person. Oh, he should fight this person. He gotta fight this. You know what I mean? There's some fights that yeah, people they should do. They should fight this person because that's what it is. That's their mandatory and all of that thing. But you know, you also got to look at it. Why is this dude taking this fight or not taking this fight? Like the real reason. It ain't all. It ain't always be because you know. He think he gonna lose against this person or it's too. I think he trying to figure out. He trying to navigate through this thing physically. How he gonna be able to keep doing it or even stay at the level that he's even doing it. If I can just keep fighting a certain kind of guys with less wear and tear and stay in this class and making this class of money, you know what I mean? It makes sense to do it that way. Still make that good money, not do wear and tear, that you can keep on making that good money a little bit longer, and not, everybody wants you to fight this person. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might make a whole bunch of money on that, but then that might knock you back down a couple of notches or whatever, win, lose, or draw. You know what I mean? But you ain't in that same caliber physically anymore, because you didn't took some time off of you, you know?
Totally. Of course, as a fan, that's the fight I also want to see, right? It's like we all want to see that fight. But I think a perfect example is like by the time Crawford and Spence got to each other, there really wasn't anybody left from their era that one of them hadn't fought where it was like, if you guys don't do this fight now, it's never going to happen. So I think that's the only thing that'll
Yeah,
kind of force this one, in my opinion. Did you happen
yeah.
to see Munguia's last fight against John Ryder?
No, I think I just saw a little clip of that, and then I saw I think other just because I didn't even know him. I saw him just not just like all
No shit.
everything's like new. So I haven't even been following. I got to learn more about him so I can understand, uh, in depth how close this fight would be, or I might learn so much about him, be like, damn, I think he can beat Canelo, but I don't have enough information on him to know what what kind of fight it is. And the clips that I saw from the John Ryder and some other guy, I don't know if that stuff would be that effective with Canelo, you know,
He's
and
tough guy. You know, he's young. I think he's got like the energy, like that youthful energy. So maybe that can get
uh-huh.
to Canelo a little bit where he's just in his chest. But listen, he's got, I don't know, he's like 43-0, 44-0, but they took forever to kind of move him up. So I think the record is deceptive. But he's a tough young guy, bro. It's not a bad fight. I think it's a good fight. It's just not what the majority of
Yeah.
fans want to see. The last thing I'll probably ask you, since the last time we talked 2 years ago, there's some new players in this division. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with it, but there's young guys like David Morrell. There's this kid Diego Pacheco. There's some real like new players in the division. Do you have a take on who the top guy is at the
I,
moment? On
I,
paper, it's
I
Canelo.
don't know, but I think I heard about that Morel guy. I haven't really followed, but I heard of his name, and from what I hear, that he supposed to be really well. So I got to start following him too.
He's a little fucking scary, bro.
Yeah. You think what's his record now?
He's one of them Cuban guys that had a long amateur career, so he might be like 11-0, 12-0, but he's moving a little different. Like I think he's scary, bro. I think he's a little scary. There was one guy he fought, he like put him in a coma. He's one of those guys. He's just like a
So yeah, that's what I heard. He was like he was hurt. He hurting people.
yeah, he's a beat you up guy.
Hurting people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gonna be in a war. He gonna bang. There's gonna be thumping going on. Which I feel you gonna see a lot of this in this my next fight. You gonna see a lot of thumping. You gonna see some shit going down. A little bit of different energy.
Well, and I think by the time your fight is over, there's going to be one more player at 168, which is a hot division right now. And like you said, if you got 3 or 4 more fights in you, I think that there's a lot of great fights that you could be a part of in this weight class right now.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause there's a lot of people that that I can catch on their way out too. That still has a name to bring me up.
But real quick, you mentioned at one point that you would be willing to move down to 160. What has changed? Like I know something like maybe you're training weights less or whatever, but what changed for you that made you feel like you could get down there and like what are some of the fights down there that you'd be interested in?
Well, I'm just still playing with the idea of the weight. I'm after this fight, I was gonna do like a random, go through the process of cutting and go to and see how I feel and do like some sparring, after I hydrate, like I would for a fight. I want to see that because I've been staying down low. Like I'm shit. I haven't had my a second meal yet, but I'm probably 170 right now. I'm 2 pounds away. I can go sit in the sauna. I could be 168 in 45 minutes.
What would you typically walk
Yeah.
around that 3, 4 years like when we met?
So normally I walk around at like 84, 83.
Wow. Okay.
you know, 82 or sometimes even 180, but like around 180, 182, 83, you know, but I've been staying under 175 for probably like 5 months now,
Comfortably.
you know. Yeah, and like, you know, I don't know. I feel just as strong. I'm definitely faster. I got faster even not just recently. I got faster like a year and a half ago, but I'm probably twice as fast as I was 2 years ago. Um, so and I think it's more mental, man. It's the lifestyle, my environment, you know what I mean? So my body can actually, function at its optimal levels, or what I mean, just your environment can change certain things to where it might have been stress that making me carry that extra money. And I wasn't fat then, you know what I mean? It was probably more mass, and I just, and it wasn't that I was lifting weights, because I just started. I didn't lift weights in over 20 years.
Right.
I just
remember you
started. Might
telling
have
me
been,
that you weren't a weights
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Yeah. I didn't live, I shit, been what, 20, like 21, 22 years, and I got a trainer now. She's 91 years old. And we just work on this basic, ain't like a powerlifting, this basic posture muscles, back muscles, hamstrings, glutes, like, you know what I mean, how to perfect squat, and everything is real life. She'll make you hurt with 35 pounds. With that, with anything, you ain't doing nothing. You know how to work certain muscles and activate them and things like that. And the different parts of the back, you know what I mean, your traps, you know what I mean, your was your rhomboids, and back, and then like the top part of the dude. She rough with it, man, and she it's a lot of knowledge, so it ain't that. So I just started lifting weights, and I'm lighter, so it ain't got nothing to do with the weights, you know but it's just, I'm telling you, I think it's just environment, you know what I mean? And then, I do like the yoga, I've been mountain biking and stuff like that, I got a whole new following of mountain bikers on Instagram. That's, and that ain't even my thing. Just to put like my Strava on there, because I put it on there for mountain biking. Then I got sponsored by Hoka running shoes, so I started putting that on there.
I'm wearing Hoka's
And then
right
they got
now.
like, you know, hey, and they do work. Do I haven't ran, well, I haven't ran 12 miles in about, I would say about 14 years. And I got the whole, because I felt good in the 4 miles. I did like 6 miles. It felt good. And one day it's on my Instagram. I'll even post it. I did like 12 miles, and I haven't did that in a long time, you know. But so with the running, and then like the yoga, and just focusing on stretching, and then like the little bit of posture, weightlifting and stuff, I think that everything's playing a part in the new me, and also my faith with God's closer. That's different now. I got baptized a few weeks ago, so there's the spiritual part. I've been working on that too. So there's strength coming from all different angles.
Well, March 28th, Mike Guy versus Vladimir Shishkin on the zone. It's a hell of a fight. Definitely check that one out. Mike, really appreciate your time. Is there anybody you want to shout out before we wrap this one up?
Oh man, give a shout out to God, you know what I mean, for blessing me to do something that I love, Then my buddy Jeremy, the owner of Blend, that's been helping me, with a lot of things, and some of my other fighters. Recently my fighter, Samantha Worthington, she became a UBO, lightweight professional champion, world champion. As like my first one. It was like a win for me. I got my first world champion boxer, and I got, other, because normally I got like regular clients, but now I got people that, we really want to do it, other than me having like UFC fighters, I haven't had any body that's really taken boxing, serious. I got another, young amateur female. You check the Instagram out. She's starting to smoke too. So it's a lot of stuff going on, man. Just from, God's just been good to me. You know what I mean? So I'm just absorbing it all. That's it.
Well, shit, it's going to be a hell of a fight. Really, like I said, really appreciate your time, Mike. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.